Yo, 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 what up, what up? Brycen Show, February 22nd, 2013. Hmm. Well, it's Friday, guys. That's all I gotta say. Thank God for that. Well, if you remember, the last show I was doing, I went into the big snowstorm that was supposed to happen. Everybody was flipping out. Everybody was freaking out. I actually got off work the other day, which never freaking happens. And yeah, they were calling for like 8 to 12 inches of snow. I think we got maybe, I don't know, around my, apparently, the amount of snowfall is pretty volatile around the area. Like, some people got a lot, some people didn't get that much. But yeah, it didn't seem that bad out to me. I went with a buddy of mine, and we went and drove around in it for a while. And yeah, it wasn't nearly as bad as I was imagining it to be. But you know, that's how that shit always works out anyway. Is, I don't know, it's almost like, I'd almost call it a conspiracy theory, if you would. It just seems like any time that, you know, we might get a snow, you watch the Weather Channel and it's completely like, it's like end of the world type shit. And you know, you would think people would kind of catch on, because, you know, it's always a lot worse according to the Weather Channel. You know what I mean? And it must get them ratings. It must get them more viewers. But you know, that has an effect. You're gonna cause people to clean out the grocery stores all over you know, entertainment value, basically. But yeah, I got a day off out of it, but I'm sure today's gonna be a living hell, playing catch up. But yeah, it was funny because they called me so early, and you could tell that it was due to the hype. Because I mean, it was snowing pretty hard and shit. But yeah, you look out there today, and you're like, yeah, I've seen a lot worse than that. But who knows? I mean, I may go to work and it's 10 times worse down there. Anyways, so what does everybody have planned for the weekend? Everybody's working for the weekend, or so the story says. I don't know. It's going to be snowy out, and that usually brings out the weirdos. I'm sure I'll go out and have a few beers tonight. But you know, be that as it may. Hopefully, I'll get into some weird conversations, or hopefully somebody that I hang out with that's done something new. But anyways, let's see here. I guess we should probably go over the news. Let's check her out. Alright, let's read the headlines. Latest world news from foxnews.com. I promise I'll give CNN its due. It just seems like on CNN there really isn't much to, I mean, there's stuff to look at, but I don't know. I always say Fox News bends the news their way, and CNN just doesn't really share the news. Anyways, let's see. Latest world news: Iranian diplomat seeking asylum in Norway. A lawyer says an Iranian diplomat in Norway is seeking asylum in the Nordic country. Palestinians reject soccer game against Barcelona. Palestinians won't be teaming with Israelis in a soccer match against Barcelona designed to promote peace. BBC leaders have harsh words for own corporation. The BBC is a bloated, top-heavy, and poorly led corporation staffed by dull executives, and that's just what the company's leadership says. That's interesting. Iraq gunman kills 7 Sunni fighters, officials say. Attackers disguised in military uniforms killed 7 anti-Al-Qaeda militiamen in Iraq early on Friday as anti-government protests once again raged in Iraq's Sunni provinces. Yeah, I mean, I wonder what it's like over there, to be honest with you. Live a few weeks over in Iraq now that we've done our thing there. I bet it's, God, can you imagine? I mean, we live every day like our biggest concern is, what the day's workload will be, or, what Johnny said about Sally on Friday night. But, yeah, can you imagine, like, sitting there and you're going out to the market or some shit, and, like, there's a 15% chance that there's going to be a battle break out in the streets. It's just nuts. We are spoiled over here in America, regardless of how bad we think we have it. That is for sure. Reminds me, okay, I rarely go grocery shopping. Alright, I'm usually never tagging along on that trip. And every time I do, it just amazes me from like a historical account. Like, what other time in history could you go and have, like, you have 15, 20 different kind of bread you can buy from the same store that you can get, a slab of beef. And then, milk and cookies. It is truly a luxury, and people, I don't think people really understand that. And, take it for granted. I mean, people like to make fun of preppers and stuff like that, but, hell, they've cleaned Walmart out. They cleaned a couple aisles of Walmart out, I've heard, in some places because of the damn snowstorm, and that's like instantaneous. It's not like, it's food product. You can't like store it back and store it back and store it back and then just keep selling it. You have to have a constant, exchange of goods to line the shelves. And yeah, I mean, the snowstorm clearing out aisles of food. I mean, what's going to happen one time if it's like we're not going to have food for 2 weeks? I mean, there's going to be fucking war in the streets over, a loaf of bread. It's just nuts. It's just crazy. There's some quote, I wish I would have pulled it up before the show, but it talks about, like, civilization is one food shortage away, or something. I don't remember. I wish I should have looked it up. But anyways, Ford launching Tourneo minivan at Geneva show. Ford Motor Company says it will launch its new Tourneo Courier minivan at this year's Geneva Motor Show. And everybody likes a good minivan reveal show. Let's see. Panetta NATO partner differ on troop numbers. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta and his German counterpart offered conflicting accounts Friday of a discussion about how many U.S. and European forces would remain in Afghanistan after the anticipated end of combat after 2014. Yeah, well, they may get out of Afghanistan, but, God, the Middle East is nuts at this point in time. Just freaking crazy. Let's see. 2 killed as Bangladesh police protesters clash. Police across Bangladesh clashed Friday with protesters from Islamic political parties denouncing war crimes trials linked to the country's 1971 independence war, killing 2 demonstrators and injuring dozens of people, police and witnesses said. Yeah. What else? Let's go into the Drudge Report. Okay. Thousands may have been exposed to deadly TB epidemic downtown. This is from Los Angeles, CBSLocal.com, so this is in Los Angeles, naturally. The feds are descending on downtown Los Angeles to combat what they say might be a dangerous outbreak of a drug-resistant strain of tuberculosis. Jeff Nguyen, I see this name at work and I still have no idea how to pronounce it. One day I'll figure it out. It's Nguyen. Jeff Nguyen, reporting for CBS 2 and KCAL 9, went downtown in search of people who may have been exposed. Well, that's a real good idea. John Williams started living at the Weingart shelter on LA's Skid Row 2 weeks ago. Before he could be admitted, he had to undergo a screening for tuberculosis. Williams said, "They make you go get checked before you get into one of these programs because they don't want it spread out in there." End quote. And tuberculosis screening is more important than ever in and around Skid Row. Reports Nguyen, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, has launched a coordinated effort to contain a persistent outbreak of the disease in the area. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Blackmail at Vatican. This is from The Guardian.co.uk. Papal resignation linked to inquiry into, quote, Vatican gay official, says paper. Pope staff declined to confirm or deny La Repubblica claims linking VatiLeaks affair and discovery of blackmailed gay clergy. A potentially explosive report has linked the resignation of Pope Benedict the 16th to the discovery of a network of gay prelates in the Vatican, some of whom, the report said, were being blackmailed by outsiders. The Pope's spokesman declined to confirm or deny the report, which was carried by the Italian daily newspaper La Repubblica. The paper said the Pope had taken the decision on the 17th of December that he was going to resign, the day he received a dossier compiled by 3 cardinals delegated to look into the so-called VatiLeaks affair. Last May, Pope Benedict's butler, Paolo Gabriele, was arrested and charged with having stolen and leaked papal correspondence that depicted the Vatican as a seething hotbed of intrigue and infighting. According to La Repubblica, the dossier, comprising 2 volumes of almost 300 pages, bound in red, quote, end quote, had been consigned to a safe in the papal apartments and would be delivered to the Pope's successor upon his election. The newspaper said the cardinals described a number of factions, including one whose members were, quote, united by sexual orientation. In an apparent quotation from the report, La Repubblica said some Vatican officials had been subject to, quote, external influence from laymen with whom they had links of a worldly nature. The paper said this was a clear reference to blackmail. It quoted a source, quote, very close to those who wrote the Cardinals' report as saying, everything revolves around the non-observance of the 6th and 7th commandments. The 7th enjoins against theft. The 6th forbids adultery, but is linked in Catholic doctrine to the prescribing of homosexual acts. Oh boy. Yep. Here we go, people. This could be big. This could be real big. If the Pope is actually resigning, which, unheard of, practically unheard of in, Catholic history. And it's going to end up being about, money scandals and sex rings. Go figure. Alright, let's see here. This is also from The Guardian. Russian meteorite. Hunt for debris begins, but was it a comet? Scientists say there are still many fragments to be found as debate starts over precise nature of celestial object. A race for cosmic souvenirs has begun after scientists said there were still many pieces of the meteorite that fell to Earth near the Russian city of Chelyabinsk last week waiting to be found. The extraterrestrial origin of 53 rock fragments collected on the frozen surface of Lake Chabarkal was confirmed during analysis conducted by the Urals Federal University in the early hours of May. But this is just the start of the process of gathering the debris left by the large meteorite, which exploded on entering the Earth's atmosphere and hit the ground in a series of fireballs on Friday. Viktor Grakovsky, a member of the Russian Academy of Sciences Meteorite Committee, has been put in charge of the scientific search operation. Quote, there are a lot more fragments to be discovered in many other places. It's only a matter of time, end quote. The search is being concentrated at the moment around a 6-meter-wide hole in Lake Chabarkal, about 50 miles from Chelyabinsk, discovered by locals shortly after the meteorite hit the ground. Military divers spent much of the weekend scouring the bottom of the lake, but were hampered by poor visibility and found nothing. Despite the failure of the divers, there was still likely to be a piece of meteorite in the lake of at least 50 centimeters in diameter, said Grakovsky. Local officials said on Sunday that the formal search was being abandoned, but scientists will continue the hunt. No one from the 8-strong scientific team has yet been able to examine the whole surface of the lake because of a cordon put in place by the authorities over the weekend. Analysis of the pieces recovered so far, none of which had a diameter greater than 1 centimeter, suggests that 10% of the meteorite was made up of iron. Traces of sulfite and the mineral olivine were also present. It was a stone meteorite that belongs to a class of ordinary chondrite meteorites, said Gorkovsky. Likely to be named Chabarkal after the lake where the first fragments were found, the meteorite is the biggest such object to hit the Earth in more than 100 years. With the academic community, there appeared to be a difference of opinion on Monday as to the exact nature of the object, when some experts said it was conceivable that it was a comet that had struck southern Russia at 9:20 a.m. on Friday. Let's see. In Chelyabinsk, we saw a type of comet in which there was almost no meteorite remaining, said Alexander Bagrov, a member of the Russian Academy of Sciences Astronomy Institute, Interfax reported. It was mainly made up of a mass of ice, of which no trace is left. The argument reflects the same debate that raged after the last big meteorite impact. The so-called Tunguska event in Siberia in 1908. For decades afterwards, Russian scientists trying to explain the absence of an obvious impact crater argued over whether the blast was caused by a meteorite or a small comet. Interesting. Let's see here. This is from veteransnewsnow.com. J.P. Morgan's secret London gold vault located. In a world defined by, quote, financial innovation, where $1 of hard collateral can spawn over $1,000 in repoed and hypothecated liabilities and assets, where shadow banking is far more important than traditional bank liabilities, and to this date remains completely misunderstood, and where every month the central and commercial banks create over $100 billion in credit money, which end consumers refuse to absorb and which therefore ends up in the stock market, the concept of a, quote, hard asset is an increasingly redundant anachronism. Yet while the Federal Reserve has emerged as the bastion of the new formal's financial innovation front, in which the concept of money is backed by absolutely nothing other than the dollar's increasingly fleeting reserve status, when it comes to the definition of, quote, old normal money, gold, it still is the domain of the first and original central bank, London. At first blush, most would not associate London with the hard asset mecca of the world. In fact, when it comes to some of the most spectacular hyper-levered new normal cataclysms in recent years, AIG, Lehman, MF Global, J.P. Morgan's London Whale, all of them originated in London. Yet for the most part, these events occurred precisely because of the mind-boggling leverage already employed by the London financial system. Recall that the UK has some 600% in financial debt, an unprecedented amount compared to any other developed world nation. Yet paradoxically, the fact that there is so much financial leverage implies that there must be an abundance of hard assets at the bottom of the London Exeter Pyramid. Oh, okay, this is real long. If you want to read that article, go to veteransnow.com. And it is J.P. Morgan's secret London gold vault located. Alright, let's look at paranormalnews.com. I'm sure there'll be something interesting in here. Let's see. Anything good? Man. Glowing apparition appears on screen with news reporter. This is from the Examiner.com. Residents of the Asherov village in the Kunushashki district of Sheblinsk, Russia, have been witnessing strange sounds and lights in the night sky for quite a while. Let's see when this was. Thank you. Thank you. Hold on. We're going to have to wait for this ad to close. This is February 20th. So this is 2 days ago. And it sounds like it's in the same area that this meteorite hit. Journalists from NTV, a popular Russian television station, investigated the case but failed to figure out the cause of the weird lights. Recently, while filming a video segment about birds, an odd glowing light appeared on screen with another NTV reporter. Birds. Their element is the sky, but even in their own territory, they are not always without danger. A gliding bird is a beauty, and it's no wonder that these winged creatures are attributed to so many songs, tales, poems, and legends. But unfortunately, in the recent years, these beautiful creatures are subjected to many dangers. In only the last 350 years, quote, "Alessia, look," the cameraman shouts. "Oh my goodness, what is it? Wow, what is it?" wonders the reporter. Journalists believe they have captured what the villagers have been observing in the Russian village. No one has an explanation on what the sightings really are. A lot of people are terrified. Well, let's watch the video. Oh, I guess it's not going to show us. Alright, here we go. Well, I'm seeing birds.
Парящая птица — это красота и тайна. Недаром этим крылатым существам посвящено столько песен, сказаний, стихов и легенд.
I'm looking over at the left side of the screen.
Красота подвергается все большей опасностям. Только за последние 350 лет... Ой, ничего себе! Что это?
Oh, come on now.
Вау! Блин!
Well, it looks totally fake. I can tell you that. But I don't know. I mean, who knows? If it was real, would it look fake? I think they're going to show it one more time. Yeah, you guys need to check this out.
Но, к сожалению, последние годы эта красота подвергается все большей опасностям. Только за последние 350 лет... Ой, ничего себе! Что это?
Yeah, it's hard telling. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, in the day of video editing and all that, it's hard to determine. You almost can't believe any of them.
Обалдеть.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Антисуфолог Эрнест Полетаев.
Повезло увидеть представителей инопланетных цивилизаций.
But it's hard to. I mean, it's definitely an interesting video. I suggest everybody check that out. I don't know. I'm looking at it under a headline of "Glowing Apparition Appears on Screen with News Reporter," and it looks like some sort of UFO. There's very distinct. God, what's the term you would use? Very distinct beams of light coming out of it. Interesting. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, and in light of it being Friday, I thought I'd try to read beer news, but it looks like, yeah, nothing really too interesting. This is from beerpulse.com. Let's see here. Here's some recently added beers and their release dates. The Long Trail Brown Bag Milk Stout on February 21st, which I guess is yesterday. The Big Al Supervillain Imperial Cascadian Dark Ale. Commando Special Hops IPA. That's clever. We got Commando Snake Eater Imperial Ale. Commando Halo Blonde Ale. This is some Commando Brewing. I guess they're having like... That's weird. It's kind of cool though. Little gaming references in the beer production. I'm alright with that. I'm a huge gaming nerd. In a way. I'm more old school than anything. The only game I've liked in, I don't know, the past 8-9 years, maybe Kingdom Hearts and Xenoblade Chronicles. And anybody that's ever talked to me about Xenoblade Chronicles knows that I probably don't need to be getting into it on here because I'll go on and on about it. But it is a freaking cool game. We'll play some Xenoblade Chronicles music in the background. Get some coolness going on here. Let's see. It's taking way too long, of course. Alright, turn that down. Yeah, let's go with something else. I'm sure you can probably hear that. Anyways, Xenoblade. Freaking game is awesome. Let's see here. Friday, guys. Friday. This is the main thing. That's what we got to keep in mind. Hopefully, you don't got to work tomorrow. I know, I'm spoiled. I get weekends off, but it's nice. I don't know. It should be a good weekend. I'll probably go out tonight, like I said, have some drinks, get crazy. And, I don't know, tomorrow I'll probably take it easy. I'm gonna try to put a show together. Word to the wise. I don't know how that's gonna work out. They really take a lot out of me, but as you can see, I did release the first 2 Bible series episodes of Word to the Wise. So definitely check them out. I mean, I know they're probably hard to listen to with this shitty mic, but I definitely put a lot of effort into them. So if that's the only reason you want to watch them, and you know, the first episode it's a little rough. Just for the fact that I hadn't recorded in a long time. And you know, it's kind of a skill to just sit here by yourself. And you know, people think I'm nuts because I talk to myself all the time. But, you know, I mean, sitting here in front of this microphone is kind of the same thing. I mean, it's kind of a skill to be able to just sit here and ramble on and on about nothing. But I guess that's what it's all about. Yeah, but yeah, give them a listen. I'm going to try to release the Sacred and Profane episode of Word to the Wise. You know, I like doing it, but jeez, I mean, it really is. There's a lot of work that goes into it. I mean, I'm not claiming that I just sit here all day and all night to release these videos that are only half-assed good, but, you know, it's just redundant. I'm sure there's better software for it, like I said earlier, but it's like, damn. But yeah, I'm going to keep doing those. I'm going to try to get a couple archaeology episodes out. I think that'll be cool. Maybe a couple paranormal type episodes. I want to do some UFO stuff. And basically, my whole point in all this is that I think once we get through the Mystery Babylon series, and we at least get through a couple books of the Bible, you'll start to see why I bring these up on a show that has to do with you know, the paranormal and the supernatural, because, dude, a lot of this stuff, it's a reoccurring theme. None of these topics are new topics. They're just referred to in different ways. Like I was talking about in the Bible episode, the Watchers, the sons of God that came down and mated with the daughters of women. Now look at the UFO community. Whether you believe in it, don't believe in it, whatever. That's a common theme. I mean, if we saw shining beings coming from the skies down to Earth, what would we think? The same. We would think it was a UFO. So really, you have no change in phenomena. You just have a change in perception. And it's like, you know, Joseph Smith of the Mormon Church. You know, at the beginning when he was out in the wilderness praying, and the God, who was it? I don't remember the particular prophets or whatever that supposedly came down. But, they came down in like a ball of light. And, technically that's a UFO. And it's like the Fatima sightings, Secrets of Fatima, and the Medjugorje sightings. And yeah, actually I should probably read that. Turn this down a little bit. I don't know how loud it is, but... And just so everybody's familiar with what I'm talking about, I'm going to Google it and read you... let's see... Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. What the hell is it? Okay. Our Lady of Fatima. This is a Marian apparition. Now listen closely. I'm going to try to skim through this article and give you the outline, but... Okay. Our Lady of Fatima is a title for the Virgin Mary due to her reputed apparitions to 3 shepherd children at Fatima, Portugal, on the 13th day of 6 consecutive months of 1917. Beginning on May 13th, the 3 children were Lucia Santos and her cousins Jacinta and Francisca Marto. The title of Our Lady of the Rosary is also sometimes used to refer to the same apparition, because the children related that the apparition called herself the Lady of the Rosary. It is also common to see a combination of these titles. Our Lady of the Rosary of Fatima. Okay. Let's get into it. The history. On May 13th, 1917, 10-year-old Lucia Santos and her cousins Jacinta and Francisco Marto were herding sheep at a location known as the Cova da Iria, near their home village of Fatima, Portugal. Lucia describes seeing a woman brighter than the sun, shedding rays of light clearer and stronger than a crystal ball filled with the most sparkling water and pierced by the burning rays of the sun. That's quite the description. Further appearances were reported to have taken place on the 13th day of the month in June and July. In these, the woman exhorted the children to do penance and acts of reparation, as well as making personal sacrifices to save sinners. The children subsequently wore tight cords around their waists to cause themselves pain, performed self-flagellation using stinging nettles, abstained from drinking water on hot days, and performed other works of penance. According to Lucia's account, in the course of her appearances, the woman confided to the children 3 secrets, now known as the 3 Secrets of Fatima. Interesting, I didn't know that. They were self-flagellators. They whipped themselves and caused themselves pain as a way to purify themselves. Which really is more of a Roman tradition than anything. But anyways, thousands of people flocked to Fatima and Al-Justril in the following months, drawn by reports of visions and miracles. On August 19, 1917, the provincial administrator and anti-clerical Freemason Arthur Santos, believing that the events were politically disruptive, intercepted and jailed the children before they could reach the Cova da Iria that day. Prisoners held with them in the provincial jail later testified that the children, while upset, were first consoled by the inmates, and later led them in praying the rosary. The administrator interrogated the children and tried unsuccessfully to get them to divulge the contents of the secrets. In the process, he threatened the children, saying he would boil them in a pot of oil, one by one, unless they confessed. The children refused, but Lucia told him everything short of the secrets, and offered to ask the lady for permission to tell the administrator the secrets. That month, instead of the usual apparition in the Cova da Iria on the 13th, the children reported that they saw the Virgin Mary on 15th of August, the Feast of the Assumption. As early as July 1917, it was claimed that the Virgin Mary had promised a miracle for the last of her apparitions on October 13th. Hold on, October 13th. Let's see here. That's a significant date. I can't remember why. Let's see. The same date, Nero ascended to the Roman throne. Vandals and Alans crossed the Pyrenees and appeared in Hispania. Yeah, that's what I thought. The October 13th. Yeah, okay. October 13th is generally associated with the October surprise. It's also Friday the 13th. And this is when, who was it? King Philip IV convicted the Knights Templar of heresy, and when they killed Jacques de Molay, which you'll hear more about that in the mystery series. But this is quite an interesting development of events, actually. Anyways, to go on, so that all would believe, what happened then became known as the miracle of the sun. A crowd believed to number approximately 70,000, including newspaper reporters and photographers, gathered at the Cova de Iria. The incessant rain had finally ceased, and a thin layer of clouds cloaked the silver disk of the sun. Witnesses said later it could be looked upon without hurting the eyes. Lucia, moved on by what she said was an interior impulse, called out to the crowd to look at the sun. Witnesses later spoke of the sun appearing to change colors and rotate like a wheel. Not everyone saw the same things. The witnesses gave widely varying descriptions of the sun's dance. The phenomenon is claimed to have been witnessed by most people in the crowd, as well as people many miles away. While the crowd was staring at the sun, Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta said later they were seeing lovely images of the Holy Family, Our Lady of Sorrows with Jesus Christ, and Our Lady of Mount Carmel. They said that they saw Saint Joseph and Jesus bless the people. The children were aged 10, 9, and 7. Let's see here. But yeah, as you see, interesting. October 13th. Jeez. Alright, let's look up the Medjugorje apparitions. And what's interesting about this one is it's pretty similar, if I remember correctly, to the visions of Fatima, but it's not as agreed upon within the church of its authenticity. Let's see here. To read on Wikipedia, Our Lady of Medjugorje and Our Lady Queen of Peace are the titles given to the Blessed Virgin Mary by those who believe that she has been appearing since the 24th of June, 1981 to 6 children in Medjugorje. The visionary Maria Lunetti claims to receive messages from the Virgin Mary on the 25th of every month, while Mariana Soldo reports receiving messages on the 2nd of the month. The messages reputed to Our Lady of Medjugorje have a strong following among Catholics worldwide. Medjugorje has become one of the most popular pilgrimage sites for Catholics in the world and has turned into Europe's third most important apparition site, where each year more than 1 million people visit. It has been estimated that 30 million pilgrims have come to Medjugorje since the reputed apparitions began in 1981. Many have reported visual phenomena, including the sun spinning in the sky or changing colors, and figures such as hearts and crosses around the sun. Some visitors have suffered eye damage while seeking to experience such phenomena. The phenomenon is not officially approved by the Catholic Church. Bishop Ratko Peric of the Diocese of Mostar-Duvno, responsible for Medjugorje, has stated the numerous absurd messages, lies, falsehoods, and disobedience associated from the beginning with the events and apparitions of Medjugorje all refute every claim of authenticity. Let's see here. Let's look at Our Lady of Medjugorje. That probably... shed some light on what the hell's going on in that one. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, I mean they're still making them. I'm looking at this website right now, and it's saying it's like has the friggin' monthly message. Anyways, yeah, interesting to look into. But my point in that is that they claimed that the sun was in the sky on October 13th. October surprise. Let's see. What else happened on October 13th? Anyways, that's an occultic date, regardless. But anyways, my point in this all of this is that the scientists reported no, phenomenological evidence of the sun, but everybody in this area saw it. So, but if you think about it, what would that look like? It would look like a giant golden ball of light, dancing around, and it's like a UFO experience, is really. But anyways, I think I've talked long enough. Everybody have a wonderful Friday, wonderful weekend. Hopefully I'll get some shit uploaded. Be careful. Later.